On this episode of Makeup Effects Tech, we're going to be covering the glue down and edge refinement of a foam latex prosthetic. This is part one of a two-part series on prosthetic application. And now, it's time to make a mutant. Be careful, your safety is important. For the application process, you're going to need a foam latex prosthetic, Prosthetic adhesive, alcohol, and some assorted stipple sponges and small cups to hold your materials. You'll also need some basic latex makeup sponges and some cotton-tipped applicators. Prosthetic cream is going to be used to finesse the blending edges, and we're going to need some nice soft brushes and some powder to set the edge. The first thing we're going to do is clean the face with some alcohol. The prosthetic with the flashing already removed is placed on the face and checked for size and fit. The appliance will be glued down from the center of the face outwards towards the ears. A line of Prosthetic is placed in the middle of the face. Give the adhesive a few seconds to dry up a bit and become tacky. Line the prosthetic up on the face and begin to move it around until it seats properly. Remember to check areas like the lips, corners of eyes, and nostrils. When you're certain of placement, begin to press down in the glued areas. This will activate the glue and make it stick. Now that the center line is secured, you'll begin tacking the piece from the center outwards. During this process, be very careful not to mess up the delicate blending edges of your prosthetic. This is a Halloween style application of a prosthetic. If you were doing this for film, you'd want to spend more time finessing the edges and making sure everything looked perfect. During the glue down process, the flexible latex piece is continually stretched and moved to fit properly. Be mindful that if you stretch the piece too far in any one direction, it can create wrinkles and weird anomalies. From this angle, you can see how large the sections of glue are as they're applied to the face. It's important to get an ample amount of glue around the nasal folds, the mouth, and the inner corners of the eyes. These are areas of high movement, and you don't want them popping up when your actor starts moving his face. Here the eye area is checked and re-glued. Our piece that we're using is ripped in the right eye section. We're doing our best just to glue it in and make it work. When applying prosthetics, you will always be confronted with certain problems and challenges, whether they be thick blending edges, ripped pieces, or weird wrinkles. It's your job as a makeup artist to roll with the punches and make them work. It's also part of the fun of the process. Once the eye areas have been properly glued down, we'll move on to refining the edges of the piece. To refine the edges, use alcohol to reactivate the glue. With tweezers and a soft brush, or in this case soft brushes, you can gently finesse down the edges of the prosthetic. This is an important part of the process. It takes a lot of time and patience, but the dedication pays off. Once the edge is down, we're going to cover it with a little more Prosthetic. Here we're stippling it on with a cotton applicator. You could also stipple it on with a sponge. For larger steps, blemishes, and problem areas on our seam that can't be fixed by stippling over with some Prosthetic, we're going to cover it with Prosthetic cream. Using a tongue depressor or a small spatula, gently spackle in the problem areas on the edge. Be careful not to lay the Prosthetic cream on too thick. If need be, apply in multiple coats, letting them dry in between. Now we're getting ready to apply the lip and lower chin piece. It's a smaller piece, so we're putting it on as one solid piece, not working from the center out. But we did have some problems getting the edge down, and probably should have worked from the center. Don't be afraid to approach the piece from awkward angles to get that edge down. For our final step on the edge, we're going to be sealing it one more time with Prosthetic. This time we're using an orange stipple sponge. By tapping the Prosthetic on with the orange sponge, it creates a very light skin-like texture. Repeat the multiple edge refining steps until the transition is as perfect as possible. Changing the lighting by moving your model or using a desk lamp can really help reveal some inconsistencies in your edge. Using a cool hairdryer or fan, give the entire piece a moment to dry. With a powder puff or makeup sponge, press powder into the edge. This not only removes the tack from the adhesive in these areas, but it also adds one more subtle layer in the transition. As you're pressing powder into the areas around the eyes and mouth, double check for any parts where it might be lifting because of movement. Once you're done, that's it. We've glued down and finessed the foam latex prosthetic. The next step is going to be painting it and bringing it to a realistic finish. Check out part 2 of our prosthetic application tutorial to see how it all works out. Thanks again to friendsbeautysupply.com for all your makeup and special effects supply needs. friendsbeautysupply.com. Thanks for watching, and please join us at makeupeffectstech.com. We're constantly updating with news, reviews, and tutorials from the world of makeup and special effects.